Welcome to AI Book Highlights.
Great to be here.
Today we're looking at Bruce Lipton's The Biology of Belief. It's quite a well-regarded book, actually.
Definitely. It's praised by quite a few people, scientists and others. It really flips the script on, how we think about our bodies.
Right. The core idea is that our beliefs, which are shaped by our environment, profoundly impact our biology.
Yeah, it challenges that old idea of genetic determinism, that genes are destiny.
So we're going to unpack some of the key highlights, give you a good feel for this, paradigm-shifting view.
Prepare for some aha moments, I think. It connects mind, environment, and cells in a really compelling way.
Okay, let's start with the first highlight. Lipton views cells not just as biological machines, but as intelligent beings.
Intelligent, sentient even.
Yeah.
Responsive to their environment.
He talks about his early work with stem cells, right?
Exactly. He showed that what those stem cells became depended on the culture medium, basically, their environment.
Not just their DNA.
Not just the DNA. That was the radical part. It really went against the central dogma of biology at the time, which said DNA controls everything.
So he's saying we're like these massive cooperative communities, what was it, 50 trillion cells?
Something like that, yeah. 50 trillion single-celled citizens, each with a kind of intelligence. And understanding that intelligence can teach us about ourselves.
It shifts the perspective, doesn't it? From just being us to being this, ecosystem.
It really does. And that leads nicely into the second point, the primacy of the environment. This is where epigenetics comes in.
Right, epigenetics. So the environment is basically controlling which genes get turned on or off.
That's the gist of it, yeah. Environmental signals control gene activity. Think of DNA like a massive library of blueprints.
Okay.
But regulatory proteins, which are influenced by cues from the environment like stress, nutrition, toxins, even thoughts, they decide which blueprints get read and used.
So the DNA itself isn't necessarily changing, but how it's expressed changes based on the environment.
Precisely. Lipton uses this analogy of a TV test pattern. Focusing only on genes is like staring at the test pattern and ignoring the actual broadcast signal, the environment, which is what creates the picture.
I like that. It means we're not just puppets pulled by our genetic strings.
Not at all.
Yeah.
It suggests we have, quite a bit more influence than we maybe thought. We're actively participating in how our genes behave based on our interaction with the world.
Okay, so if the environment is sending signals, how are the cells receiving them? That brings us to the third highlight, the cell membrane.
Ah, yes, the magical membrane, as he calls it. Lipton argues it's the real brain of the cell, not the nucleus.
The brain,
Yeah.
not the nucleus with all the DNA.
Nope. He describes the membrane, that outer layer, as this complex structure, a phospholipid bilayer, with these special proteins embedded in it, called IMPs.
Integral membrane proteins, okay.
And these IMPs act like, antennas and switches. Some are receptors, picking up signals from the environment.
Signals like what, chemicals?
Chemicals, yes. But also, interestingly, he suggests they can read energy fields, like light and sound, potentially even thought energy.
Wow, okay.
And other proteins are effectors. They translate those signals into action within the cell. It's a stimulus response system, just like our nervous system, but at the cellular level.
So the membrane is constantly sensing and deciding, and the nucleus.
The nucleus with the DNA is more like the hard drive or memory disk. It holds the programs, the genes, but the membrane is the processor, deciding what program to run based on incoming data.
This idea of energy fields leads into the next point, doesn't it? The connection Lipton makes between quantum physics and biology.
It does. This is where things get perhaps a bit more abstract, but it's crucial to his model.
He starts with the basic quantum idea that matter is fundamentally energy, right?
Exactly. Atoms, molecules, everything, including us, it's all vibrating energy.
Yeah.
And these atoms and molecules radiate unique energy signatures. Lipton proposes that these energetic signals from the environment are just as important, maybe even more important, than physical chemical signals in influencing biology.
How so?
Well, think about speed and efficiency. Chemical signals, like hormones drifting through the bloodstream, can be relatively slow and the signal can degrade.
Right.
But electromagnetic energy signals travel at the speed of light and don't lose strength in the same way. He suggests the cell membrane's receptors are tuned to pick up these energetic frequencies too.
So this opens the door to understanding how things we can't easily see or measure, like thoughts or maybe energy medicine, could actually impact our physical cells.
That's the implication, yes. It bridges that gap between the physical and the energetic, suggesting they're deeply intertwined in biological function.
And all this really comes together in the fifth highlight, the power of belief. This is where we see the placebo and nocebo effects.
Absolutely. The placebo effect, where a positive belief in a treatment leads to real improvement, even if the treatment is inert.
Like a sugar pill.
Exactly. And the nocebo effect, the dark twin, where negative expectations or beliefs can actually cause harm or worsen conditions.
Lipton cites some pretty striking examples, doesn't he? Like that knee surgery study.
Oh yeah, the sham surgery
Mhm.
study. That was remarkable. Patients who got a fake knee surgery improved just as much as those who got the real procedure.
Which suggests their belief they were getting help triggered the body's own healing mechanisms.
It strongly suggests that yes, it highlights this incredible innate capacity for healing that can be unlocked by the mind.
He also mentions the flip side, the nocebo effect, with that story about the man diagnosed with cancer.
Right, who died when doctors predicted he would. But the autopsy apparently showed very little actual cancer. The implication being his profound belief he was dying contributed significantly to his death.
It's sobering, but it really hammers home how powerful our thoughts and perceptions are in shaping our physical reality. It's not just all in your head.
It's in your cells. Your beliefs become biology.
Okay, so based on all this, what are some actionable takeaways for us listening?
Well, the first one seems pretty clear. Become more conscious of your thoughts and beliefs.
Because they're not just fleeting things, they have biological consequences.
Precisely. The placebo and nocebo effects demonstrate that directly. So, step one is just paying attention. What narratives are running in your head? Are they generally supportive and empowering, or...
Or are they leaning towards the negative, potentially triggering that nocebo response?
Exactly. Just bringing awareness to those patterns is huge. Then you can start consciously choosing beliefs that better serve your health and well-being. It's about taking the reins of your internal dialogue.
Okay, awareness first. What's the second takeaway?
Optimize your environment. This flows directly from the epigenetics discussion.
Right. The environment controls gene expression.
So actively shape your surroundings to be as supportive as possible. And environment here isn't just, clean air and non-toxic furniture, though that's part of it.
It's broader than that.
Much broader. It includes your emotional environment, the quality of your relationships, the stress levels you experience. It includes your mental environment, the information you consume, the focus of your attention.
So reducing stress, fostering positive connections, engaging in activities that feel good, that's all creating a better environment for your cells.
That's the idea. You're essentially providing the signals that encourage the expression of genes associated with health, growth, and vitality.
Makes sense. And the third takeaway.
Embrace a more holistic view of health. This ties into the quantum physics aspect.
Seeing health as more than just molecules and chemicals.
Yeah, if we accept that energy plays a crucial role and that our thoughts and beliefs have energetic components that interact with our biology, then health becomes this interplay of mind, body, and energy.
So it's about acknowledging that mind-body connection is real and maybe exploring things that work on that level.
Right. It encourages looking beyond just the physical symptoms and considering the whole system. This might involve exploring practices like mindfulness, meditation, or other approaches that address thoughts, beliefs, and maybe even the body's subtle energies alongside conventional medical care.
It's not necessarily rejecting conventional medicine, but perhaps integrating a broader perspective.
Exactly. A more complete picture of what influences well-being.
Wow. There's clearly a lot packed into the biology of belief. We've really only scratched the surface here.
Definitely. Bruce Lipton lays out a very compelling case, grounded in science, for the incredible power our minds and our environment have over our physical selves.
So if these ideas resonated with you, if you're intrigued by the science behind that mind-body connection and the potential for, well, taking more control of your own biology,
Then grabbing a copy of the book is highly recommended.
we definitely suggest picking up The Biology of Belief by Bruce H. Lipton. You can find a link to purchase it right there in the description below.
It's a fascinating read.
Thank you so much for joining us today on AI Book Highlights.
Thanks for tuning in.